Hi, my dear friends. This is Gopi Krishna from K&H Degree College, Eluru. Now, today we discuss the class 2 for the second BSc paper 3 in unit 1, that is groups. In the previous class, that means in class 1, we learned about semi-group definition. What is semi-group? A non-empty set G with respect to a binary operation star is said to be semi-group if it satisfies two laws. What are they? Closure law and associative law. And also we learn the definition monoid. What is the definition of monoid? A non-empty set G with respect to a binary operation star is called monoid if it satisfies the following three laws. What are they? Closure law, associative law, and identity law. And also learn the definition of group. What is group? A non-empty set G with respect to a binary operation star is called group if it satisfies the following four laws. What are they? Closure law, associative law, identity law, and inverse law. And also learn the definition of abelian group. What is abelian group? A non-empty set G with respect to a binary operation star is called abelian group if it satisfies the following five laws. What are they? Closure law, associative law, identity law, inverse law, and the fifth one is abelian law. If this non-empty set G satisfies these five laws, then we say that non-empty set G is an abelian group with respect to a binary operation star. We simply write as G star is an abelian group. What is closure law? For A comma B, for any two elements A comma B in G, then the A star B, the binary operation of two elements A and B with respect to the binary operation star, that is A star B, is also in G, then we say that closure law exists in G. What is associative law? For any three elements A comma B comma C in G, A star B star C is equal to A star B star C. If this LHS is equal to RHS condition is satisfying for any three elements A comma B comma C in G, then we say that associative law exists in G. Identity law. For any single element A belongs to G, for any element A belongs to G, there exists an element E belongs to G such that A star E is equal to A is equal to E star A, then we say that identity law exists in G, because here we say that E is the identity element, that identity element E in G, that means identity exists in G. Here E is on right side of A, and here we observe that E is on left side of A. Here E is right side of A. Here E is left side of A. So we say that here E is right identity. Here we say that E is left identity. If A star E is equal to A, then we say that E is called right identity. If E star A is equal to A, then we say that E is left identity. If left and right identity both are exist, then we say that identity exists, identity element E exists in G. The next one is, the fourth one is inverse law. For each A belongs to G, there exists an element B belongs to G such that A star B is equal to E is equal to B star A. If we observe that B is on right side of A star B is equal to E and B is right side of A. So B is called right inverse of A. If we observe here, B star A is equal to E. Here B is left side of A. Here B is left side of A. So we say that B is left inverse of A. The left inverse exists, right inverse exists. That means the inverse exists in G. Here B is called inverse element of A. That B is in G. So for inverse law exists in G. The fifth one is abelian law. for any two elements A comma B in G, if A star B is equal to B star A, then we say that the abelian law exists in G. We simply write as G star is an abelian group, and we have already discussed the examples in the previous class. So we go to the present class, that is theorem 1. This today's class is theorem 1 by using the definition of the group. Theorem 1, what is the statement? Every group has unique identity element. Every group has single identity element. Unique means the single, the one and only one identity element must be in every group. That means every group has only one identity element. We have to prove this statement. What is proof? Suppose I am taking that G star is a group. Generally we use in theorems, generally we use binary operations dot. But I have given the definition on star. That's why this only one theorem will be proved by taking the binary operation star for your convenience only. G comma star is group. You can take the dot also. Let E and E dash are two identity elements in G. If we take that, E and E dash are two identity elements in G. We have to prove there is only one identity element, but I am taking that E and E dash two identity elements in the G, but we have to prove only one identity element. That's why now we prove that both identity elements are equal. E is equal to E dash. Then what happens? That G has only one identity element. So I prove this E is equal to E dash. Let us treat. I am taken E and E dash are two identity elements. Identity elements means, first of all, these two are elements. These two are elements in G, and moreover, they are also the identity elements. For that, first I am treating that E dash is only an element and E is an identity element. What is that? E dash is taking that as only an element and E is an identity element. By identity law, E dash star E, what happens? E dash star E, here E is the identity. That means there is no effect on E dash. E dash will comes out as E dash. Here that E is identity, that's why E dash star E is equal to E dash. Similarly, E star E dash, here E is identity, that means E dash comes out same E dash. That means E star E dash is equal to E dash. The total, let us take it as 1. Now, I am treating E as element. Previously, please students, please follow the cursor. Here we taken that E dash as element. Now I am taking that E as element and E dash as identity. What is that? Here is the E dash is the identity. In the previous one, E is the identity. Now I am taking that E dash is the identity. Again, by the identity law in G, E dash star E, what happens? Before that, E is identity, before step. Now in this step, E dash is identity. E dash is identity means E comes out as E, because E dash is the identity. That means E dash star E is equal to E. What about the E star E dash? Here E dash is the identity. That's why E comes out as E, because E dash is the identity. E star E dash is equal to E. That means E dash star E is equal to E, and also E star E dash is equal to E. That means now we are taking this as 2. Now we observe that from 1, what is E dash? From 1, what is E dash? E dash is equal to E star E dash. Is it right? What is E dash? E star E dash. Now I am writing that E dash is equal to E star E dash from 1. What is E star E dash into E star E dash value into? What is E star E dash value? E. Now I am writing that E star E dash value as E from 2. Therefore, E dash is equal to E. What happens? E dash is equal to E. That means E is equal to E dash. We have taken G has two identity elements E and E dash, but these two elements are what happens? Are equal. That means that G has only one identity element. Hence, we prove the theorem. That is, hence every group has unique identity element. Okay, students? Right. We observe that here, we prove here, group has unique identity element. But what about the inverse, sir? That is the doubt. We have to raise it. For that only, we are proving another theorem, that is theorem 2. Sorry, that is theorem. That is, in a group, every non-zero element, sorry, 1 minute. In a group, every non-zero element has unique multiplicative inverse element. That means, in group, identity is unique. Now, what about the inverse? For every non-zero element in G, not total G, total set G. For any non-zero element in G, we have only, for that element only, there is only one multiplicative inverse, that is unique multiplicative inverse. This is the statement. To prove this theorem, we have, before this, to prove this theorem, before that, we have to prove another theorem, that is theorem 2. Because we used this theorem, in this theorem, to prove this statement, we use cancellation laws. For that, first of all, we want to prove that cancellation laws must be hold in that group G. For that, before this proving this theorem, I am proving another theorem, that is theorem 2. What is theorem 2? In a group, cancellation laws holds. Means, in any group, cancellation laws must be holds. We have to prove this one. For that proof, I am taking that suppose G comma dot is group. What is that? I am taking that dot is the binary operation here. Are you observing that? Before that, I am taking star. Now from onwards, that means from this theorem onwards, I am taking that dot is the operation, binary operation to prove any theorem. We simply say that G is group means G with respect to the binary operation dot. You have to take in that. If I noted on any theorem G is group, that means G dot is a group. That means operation is taken as multiplication. Operation taken is multiplication only. Okay, right. We want to prove that cancellation laws holds. What are the cancellation laws? If AB is equal to AC, then B is equal to C. Here we observe that I am taking that AB is equal to AC. Here A is on left side. For in the LHS part, A is on left side, and the RHS part is also A is left side. If A cancels on both sides, we got B is equal to C. What was cancelled? A was cancelled. Which A is on side A. Sorry, A is on side, that is on left side. That's why A cancelled from the left side. That's why we say that it is a left cancellation law. If we take that BA is equal to CA, that means A is on right side. Then if B is equal to C, that means A was cancelled from the right side. That means it is called right cancellation law. We want to prove that these two laws must be holds in G. Left cancellation is simply write as LCL, and right cancellation is simply write as RCL. Okay, we want to prove these two laws in this group. For that, I am taking an element A is a non-zero element in group G. G means G dot is a group with respect to the operation multiplication. Okay, right. Group means how many laws are satisfying in group? 4 laws. What are they? Closure, associative, identity, inverse. Now by using that inverse, the fourth law in G, what is the inverse law? For A belongs to G, there exists A inverse belongs to G such that A inverse is equal to E is equal to A inverse E. I am simply writing the inverse law from the definition of the group. I am taking that it has 1. Now I am proving the first law, that is left cancellation law must be hold in G. For that one, I am taking that AB is equal to AC. If we observe this one, let AB is equal to AC. What you have to prove? A must be cancelled on both sides. That means B is equal to C may be the result. So for that one, we know that A inverse is in G. What is that? A inverse is in G. That's why I am multiplying A inverse on both sides for the above one. That means A inverse into AB is equal to A inverse into AC. Okay, right. A inverse, A, B, all are the elements in G. If you observe that A is an element in G, B is an element in G, A inverse is an element in G. That means all the elements are in G. A inverse, A, C, all the elements are in G. That's why, but G is a, what is that? G is group. Group means 4 laws are satisfying in that group. It has 4 laws. G has 4 laws. What are they? Closure law, associative law, identity law, inverse law. I am using the second one is associative law. By using this associative law, we write that A inverse into AB as A inverse A into B. Elements are in the same order. A inverse A, B. First element A inverse, second element A, third element B. If you observe that here also A inverse, second one is A, third one is B. But the brackets are interchanged. The brackets are interchanged. That's why this is associative law. That also A inverse into A into C. A inverse A, C. A inverse A into C. By using this associative law. What I have written that? A inverse into AB as A inverse A into B. In the RHS part, A inverse into AC as A inverse A into C. What is A inverse A? From 1, if we observe 1, A inverse A is E. That's why I wrote that A inverse A as E and B is as this. In the right side, A inverse A. What is A inverse A? A inverse A. From 1, A inverse A is E. A inverse A is E. E. A inverse A is E. C is as it is. What is E dot B? Here E is the identity element. We know that. E is the identity element. Identity element means there is no effect on the B. B will comes outside as B. E dot B is equal to B because E is the identity element. Since identity law and E is the identity element in G. What about the right side? E dot C. Again E is the identity element. That's why C comes out as C. E dot C is equal to C. What I have taken? AB is equal to AC. What we have shown here? B is equal to C. That means AB is equal to AC, then B is equal to C. If you observe that in the top one, should look on the top. If A dot B is equal to A dot C, then B is equal to C. That is the left cancellation law, what we have proved now. That means therefore left cancellation law holds in group G. What about the right cancellation law? Now we are taking that B dot A is equal to C dot A. Now I am taking A inverse on both sides. Both sides on the right side. If you observe that, we are proving the right cancellation law. That's why we are taking that A inverse on the right side. B dot A into A inverse, C dot A into A inverse. Now again I am applying associative law for these 3 elements. That means B dot A into A inverse written as B dot A dot A inverse. What about right side? C dot A into A inverse. It can be written as C dot A into A inverse by associative law. What is A inverse? From 1, if you observe that 1, A dot A inverse is equal to E. That means we written that A dot A inverse as E from 1. B as it is, A dot A inverse is E. On the right side, C is as it is written. What about A dot A star? Again from 1, A dot A star is E. Now B dot E is B because E is the identity element, so B comes out as B. Because E is identity element, B comes out as B. What about C dot E? Again E is the identity element, that's why C dot E. C comes out as C. C dot E is equal to C. What we have taken? B dot A is equal to C dot A. What we are shown, B is equal to C. That means right cancellation law holds in G. We proved left cancellation law holds, and also the right cancellation law holds in G. That means, therefore, cancellation laws holds in group G. That means in every group, cancellation laws holds. That's the theorem. We prove this theorem for the main theorem, that is theorem 3. What is that? Here is the theorem 3. What is that? In a group, every non-zero element has unique multiplicative inverse. For every non-zero element, there must be unique multiplicative inverse in group. For that, I am taking that, suppose G dot is group. What is that? G dot is group. Here also you taken that operation multiplication. Are you observing that? Okay, right. For any non-zero element A in a group G, I am taking that non-zero element is A in G. We want to prove that that non-zero element A has unique multiplicative inverse in G. A has only one multiplicative inverse. What do you have to prove? That non-zero element A has only one multiplicative inverse. That's why I'm taking that let B and C are two inverse elements of A in G. I am taking the two inverse elements. We have to prove only one inverse element, but I am taking the two inverse elements. So now we prove that the two inverse elements B and C are equal. B is equal to C. Then what happens? If two inverse elements are equal, then that means there is only one inverse element. Is it right? So we prove that B is equal to C. For that, before that, we have B and C are inverse elements of A. We have taken that. Let B and C are inverse elements of A. That means B is inverse of A and C is also inverse of A. Now I am using that B is inverse of A and by inverse law. And also I am using inverse law in G because G is group. Group means four laws are there. What are they? Four laws are satisfying. What are they? Closure law, associative law, identity law, inverse law. I am using the fourth law, inverse law here. What about inverse law? For A, B is inverse. That means A dot B comes out as identity element E. What is E? E is the identity element in G. Right. Similarly, B dot A is also E. I am taking it as 1. Now also we have C is also inverse of A. C is also inverse of A. Again by inverse law, what happens? C is inverse of A dot C. What happens? If C is inverse of A, then what happens? Result is identity must come. Because C is inverse. That means A dot C is equal to E. Also, similarly, C dot A is also E. That means this is inverse of A condition. C is inverse of A condition is like that. I am taking it as 2. From 1, if we observe in 1, A dot B is equal to E. I am taking that A dot B is equal to E from 1. Now, A dot B is writing as it is in the second step. And what about E? If we observe that, what is E in the second one? A dot E is equal to A dot C. A dot C is equal to E is there now. I am using that E as A dot C. I am writing instead of E, I am writing A dot C. I replace E with A dot C from 1. If we observe that in group G, in the previous theorem, we have proven that cancellation laws holds in G. That means in groups, cancellation laws holds. That means left cancellation law hold, right cancellation law holds. Now I am using left cancellation law here. If we use by left cancellation law, left side A is on both sides on left side, is it right? I am cancelling using the left cancellation law. This A is cancelling by using left cancellation law. Then what happens? B is equal to C. If you observe that, we have taken B and C are two inverse elements, but those two inverse elements are equal. Means there is only one inverse element. For what? For A. For a non-zero element A, we have only unique inverse in G dot. Hence, we prove the theorem. That means in a group, every non-zero element has unique multiplicative inverse element. Okay, students, we have learned 3 theorems in this class. All of you, I am posting this in our WhatsApp group. This as a PDF file. So all the students have to write the notes and you have to show the notes in the next class. Okay, students? Okay. Bye.